Hi, I'm Jonathan Canada, and I'm a solutions engineer here at Teleport. In this presentation, I will discuss how PagerDuty can be used with Teleport to automatically grant an on-call user access to infrastructure that is experiencing an incident. So, an agenda of what I'm going to cover, I'll first start with an overview of what Teleport is. I'll then talk about some of Teleport's architecture, and then I'll show a demo of using Teleport with PagerDuty to grant access to an on-call user. So Teleport is an open source access plane for your infrastructure. With Teleport, you can set up single sign-on and have one place to access your SSH servers, Kubernetes clusters, databases, and web apps. With that, you can set up role-based access controls and map Teleport roles that you create in Teleport to groups that exist within your identity provider and use the internal roles that you're using for your users across all of your infrastructure. You can also share and record interactive sessions across all environments. So every action that a user does across infrastructure, their inputs are going to be captured, their SSH sessions recorded, kubectl exec sessions, database queries, and everything that they do is tied to their specific identity as it is within your identity provider. So you'll see not only is somebody SSHing as root potentially, but you will see specifically which user is SSHing as root. And so you no longer have to try to figure out if somebody's maybe sharing SSH keys or where somebody may have put one of their public keys on some piece of infrastructure that you maybe don't have visibility into. With Teleport, everything is tied to a user's identity, and every interaction with infrastructure is using short-lived certificates for that access. And then lastly, with Teleport, you can leverage tools such as PagerDuty to grant temporary access to infrastructure. So somebody who may start with a less privileged role, perhaps a developer in a development environment, if they require more privileged access into a production environment, perhaps an incident is occurring, Teleport can be used with PagerDuty to elevate their permissions temporarily so that they can go ahead, access that production environment, and fix whatever requires fixing. So at a high level, the architecture of Teleport, how it works is you have some user who requires access to some piece of infrastructure. It really doesn't matter if it is in the cloud, if it's on-prem, what it is, if it's a server, Kubernetes, an application, a database. It doesn't matter. From that user's perspective, they will use either the TSH CLI tool or they will use a UI that is served from this Teleport proxy. So from this user's perspective, everything they do is through this proxy, so they do not directly access any piece of infrastructure down here. So a Teleport proxy, that's one piece of a Teleport cluster. The other piece is this authentication server. This is where Teleport's certificate authority lives. This is where all the audit logs are stored by default. This is where you set up that SSO integration. So as I mentioned before, with this single sign-on integration, you can set up a mapping of roles that you create within Teleport, map those roles to groups that exist within your identity provider. And so a user, to authenticate against this Teleport cluster, they will use the normal SSO credentials that they're used to. And when they receive some role from Teleport, it's within the role that it specifies what they are authorized to access. And how that access gets authorized is based on labels. So with Teleport, you can associate labels with your infrastructure, and then within a Teleport role, allow or deny somebody access to infrastructure based on labels you've associated with that infrastructure. You can also, within those roles, specify how long their access is good for, making it as short or as long as you require. And as I mentioned before, Teleport uses short-lived certificates for all interactions, so no using passwords, static keys, anything like that. And as part of this demo with PagerDuty, the important piece is these access workflows or these access requests. So that's where if this developer requires more privileged access or just maybe access that they don't normally receive by default, that's where they can kick off an access request. That request can go to some third-party application such as PagerDuty, and an admin can go ahead and approve or deny that request, or as I'll demonstrate in my demo, how PagerDuty can actually automatically approve that access if that user who is requesting the access is currently on call within PagerDuty. And so once they've received updated certificates that reflect that new role that they've received, they can now go about and access the infrastructure that they need to access. So to switch over to my demo environment, I'll show a few things at a high level to give you an understanding of how I've set up this demo. So in here I have this PagerDuty plugin that's running on one of my servers. So this is the plugin that is watching for any access requests that a user is going to request from within Teleport, and this will send those requests to my PagerDuty instance. So here in my Chrome browser, let's say that there's a new incident that's occurred. I'll say production server, the servers are down, and I'll create that incident. So something has triggered this incident to occur. The servers are down. It's been assigned to me because I'm currently on call. And so I've been alerted. What happens now is in order to get access to that server that's down, I can go into Teleport. So I'm going to log in using my SSO, going to sign in using my Gmail account here. And how I've set this up is this JCanada user by default has no permissions at all. So in order for me to get access to this server that's down in my environment, what I can do is I can come in here, go to this access requests menu, and I can click this request access button. So now I'm going to select a role that will give me access to that server that's having issues, and I can provide a reason. The servers are down. If I need to have a particular user review this request, I can assign that here, but for now I'm using automatic approval through PagerDuty. Let me go ahead and send this request off. And if I go into this terminal window again where I have this PagerDuty plugin running, you can see this message that the user who sent that, myself, is on call, so that request has been auto-approved. So even though it's the middle of the night, I'm on call, my request is approved. If I now refresh this page, so I can see that it's changed from pending to approved. If I click assume, you can see that I've now assumed this dev role, that this role elevation will expire in 59 minutes, and that's configurable. But now if I go to servers, before there was nothing here, but now there are actually servers that I can access because this dev role that I've assumed, within that role, it allows me to access servers that have a label of this particular label, environment equals development. So now to actually SSH into one of these servers, I can click this connect button, choose an SSH user. Where this SSH user comes from is also from within this dev role, so you can specify what OS users somebody is allowed to SSH as. So if I click this Ubuntu button, it takes me in here. What I also have set up is per session MFA. So even though I've gone through my normal SSO login to now actually initiate a session, I've set this up so I have to tap my YubiKey to start my SSH session. So I tapped it. Now I'm in here. I need to see what's happening. Maybe my CPU usage is out of control. Some process is going crazy. I fix it. I can exit out of here. And when I'm done, my access will expire and my incident will be resolved. Now, as an admin, if I come into this other web browser to log into the Teleport UI as this admin user, so before I use my personal Gmail account, this time I'll use my Teleport account. So I can see a lot more stuff because I have an admin role here. But if I go to activity and if I look in the audit log, so I can see a history of these access requests being created, being updated to approved. I can see a session started. If I view the details, here's where I can see not only is somebody SSHing as Ubuntu, but it's tied to their specific identity. I can also see other information such as their IP address. And if I want to play back exactly what they did in that session, I can click this button. And this is a very simple playback of what I did just a moment ago in my Firefox browser. So to summarize what I went over, I demonstrated how Teleport can be used with PagerDuty to automatically elevate the permissions or automatically elevate the role of somebody who is currently on call within PagerDuty schedule. So some next steps, definitely check us out on GitHub. We are open source, so feel free to go in there, download, install Teleport, start playing around with it. Also, we are hiring for a variety of roles. Please join us, check us out. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for attending. Have a great day. Thank you.